My name is Chef Fernando Mojica. I am with Columbus State Hospitality Programs. Thank you for joining us today. We're going to show you a couple of fun dishes. We are here in our innovation lab at Columbus State. So today we're going to do a dish that's a little bit challenging and can be a little bit intimidating, but if you get the hang of it, it's going to be pretty easy to execute. So it is my hope that you can, after going through this video, you can get the hang of doing the video and you can feel comfortable enough to do it at home and start learning those new skills and new techniques. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a roasted chicken breast. We are going to stuff that chicken breast with a chicken force meat. So almost very similar like a bratwurst. In fact, that's where the recipe was originally designed to be a chicken bratwurst. So we're going to stuff that with that. We are going to do in one of our other recipes, in other videos, we show you how to do a pan sauce. So we are going to do that as well, to do a pan sauce with that. And then we're going to serve that with wild rice. So we're going to start this video by walking you through the wild rice, and hopefully by one of the things that we're trying to show you here is that once by doing components of dishes at the same time and having one component working while you're doing another, by the time everything is done, it's all ready to go and it'll be ready at the same time. So for the wild rice, we have wild rice right here. Little bit of we have about a cup of wild rice. We have a couple tablespoons of minced shallots. We have about an ounce or so of dried cherries. We have an ounce or so of dried cranberries. About 3 tablespoons of chives, and we have 2 cups of water. So this is all going to be very simple. We're just going to start with the shallots, and we're going to put the shallots right into the pan along with the rice and the water, and we're going to cook these. We're going to bring this up to a boil, and we're going to let this cook for about an hour. You want to start wild rice like it's a grass, so you want it to start popping up and start kind of opening up a little bit. You'll see the inside of it, and that's when you know it's starting to get ready. So let this cook for about an hour, and in the meantime we'll work on the chicken. So the rice is going right. We're going to show you one of our other videos that we show you. We fabricated a whole chicken for you, and we did a roasted chicken with that. But we want to show you another way to utilize all the components of one protein. So in this case, the chicken, right? We're going to start our chicken bratwurst. So we're going to need. The idea is to utilize all the parts of the chicken. If you were to buy a whole chicken, and you can utilize all the parts of it to create a nice meal with it. So for this, we're going to need 2 boneless and skinless chicken breasts. We went ahead and removed all the excess fat, and then we flattened them to they're about 1/8 of an inch thick. We have 10 ounces here of boneless and skinless chicken thigh. We have 3 ounces of bacon. You can also use, if you have it available, you can use fatback, pork back, or you can use even the fat from the pork belly. We have 3 ounces of pork shoulder, and then we have a gram of salt, kosher salt. It's important to use kosher salt just for this one recipe. We have about a gram of white pepper. We have about a gram of mustard. We have about a half a gram each of dry rosemary, dry parsley, and dry thyme. It's important for the herbs to be dry because what we're doing is we're creating an emulsion, and these herbs already have all the humidity and all the natural moisture on the herbs taken out of them. So if you incorporate water, it will start messing up with that emulsion. And then we have about 3 grams of dry milk powder. Now this is something that you can easily find in the grocery store, but you want to be careful on which one you use. You want to use the milk powder that is meant for baking. So usually you find this at the grocery store in the baking aisle. This special milk powder, or dehydrated milk, has no sugar added to it, has no flavor. It's just the actual dehydrated milk. So that's why it's important to use the one that's meant for baking. That and the mustard will act as the binder for the bratwurst that we're trying to make, or the force meat that we're trying to make. So a couple of other ingredients before we get going. A couple of things to point out. We do have a grinder here. If you don't have a food grinder at home, you can dice the thighs and the pork and the bacon very fine, and then use it into almost about an 1/8 inch by 1/8 inch pieces. And then you can certainly use a food processor to create that emulsion. So we're just going to use the KitchenAid for all of it, but that's just another option. You do want to have a little bit of butcher's twine available, or cooking rope. Again, pretty easy available on the grocery store or at the grocery store. And then we have a pastry bag. You don't need a pastry bag. If you don't have one, you can use a Ziploc bag with a little corner cut off, or you can just use a spoon. This is just so for us to be able to better control when we are stuffing the chicken breast with the force meat. So we'll get going, and we'll come finish the dish. The other thing that you can use too, as well, if you don't have a food processor or a KitchenAid, you can certainly use a hand grinder. So hand crank grinder, that also works just as well. And again, just for just different options to have at home. So we're going to start by grinding all of these through a fine die. You want them to be very fine, and that will help create the emulsion. So one important thing to keep in mind is that you want to have the protein be as cold as possible. Sometimes you want to take them where they're almost semi-frozen, but as cold as possible. You want to work into a bowl with ice on it, and you want to keep your food processor parts or your grinder. We actually put this in the freezer overnight, so something that we can keep cold. And the idea for that is that as you start grinding these, that's going to create some heat, and heat is one of the worst enemies of a force meat. So you want to keep everything cold as you work. So it's something to keep in mind as we do this. We have all of our meat grind here now. At this point, it's still emulsion has not created. So what we're going to do is we transfer it to a KitchenAid bowl. Again, you can do this in the food processor at this point, and then what you want to do is take a paddle attachment to it. We're going to go ahead and put our proteins into the bowl, and then we are going to run these until the proteins start to develop and it starts to create the consistency of over chew bubble gum. I know that sounds a little weird, but you're looking for a consistency of like a bubble gum consistency that's very gluey and very stringy. So we'll let this go. This is going to take anywhere from 3 to 4 or 5 minutes. We want all that protein to start developing and start releasing some of that. All right, so we've been having these run under the processor here. So as you can see now, the consistency, it's starting to get kind of come together, right? This is the consistency that we're looking for. Again, you're looking for that almost bubble gum consistency. So we're going to add all of our dry ingredients now, and this is where the emulsion comes in, right? This is where the dried milk right here is going to act as a binder for that. That's going to make it cook smooth. That's going to make it cook so that when you cut into it, if you were making a bratwurst, like again, this recipe was designed to be a bratwurst. When you cut into a bratwurst, it's nice and smooth rather than having almost like a cooked ground beef look to it, where it's grainy. So we're gonna let this go for like about another minute or so, maybe 2 minutes, until that milk starts to mix completely on all the sides, and then we'll go from there. All right, so we have our force meat here at this point. We have our chicken breast here, and we have a little bit of a little bit of butcher's twine here. So one thing I want to point out is, we try to keep this as cold as possible, all of the components. I'm not wearing gloves for this particular part of the process because I find it that if I don't wear gloves, we're going to tie the breast here so that the stuffing stays inside. If you are not going to wear gloves while you do this process, just be mindful of keeping safety and sanitation in hand. Wash your hands before and after, and so on. So we're going to take a little bit of this force meat that we need, and we're just going to pipe a little bit into the breast right here, right? You want a nice even layer here. You don't want a lot of it, but you want a nice even layer. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and start rotating these over. All right, so you saw the stuffing of the chicken breast. There's a nice little pocket here, right? We're going to take a little bit of time, and we are going to just tie these together so that it stays together when we cook. You don't need a lot of it, but just this will just help with that, with keeping that protein and the stuffing inside the chicken breast here. So just a quick knot there, nothing too big, and then we'll do the same component here. So notice that we're doing the knot to be on the side that's a little bit more rough here. So you don't want to press it too hard, but you do want it to be tight enough so that will, when it cooks, it'll stick together. Now we'll do the same thing on the other one here. But as you can see, we have some extra meat here on the chicken breast. You can certainly go ahead and cut that there a little bit, and that will help us. So at this point, we'll do the same thing. We're gonna sear these, and we're gonna finish in the oven. I'll show you that in a minute. But at this point, we're ready to go, and the rice is almost ready as well. So we'll go from here. All right, so our chicken breast is nice and stuffed. It's tied together. We have seasoned the chicken breast itself with a little salt and a little pepper. We have a little bit of oil here, a hot pan. So what we're going to start with is we want to get this pan nice and hot, get the oil nice and hot, and then we're just going to sear the outside of the chicken breast just to give it some golden brown color. We're going to start with the smooth side up. About a minute or so. You don't want to take this too long. I'm going to rotate it here every now and again to get golden brown on all sides. And once this is all the way through seared, we're going to pop this in an oven, and we're going to cook this in the oven for at about 325 degrees until it reaches an internal temperature of 165 degrees, more or less. You are going to look, depending on the size of the chicken breast, these are a little bit smaller. These were 6 ounces chicken breast, and you have about 2 ounces of force meat in there. These are going to take about 7 to 10 minutes, but you're looking for that internal temperature of 165. Alright, so our chicken just came out of the oven. We have our sauce, and again, in one of the other videos that we did, the gray show ribs, we show you how to do a pan sauce. It was the same technique that we use as far as how to build flavors. Of course, we use chicken instead of using chicken stock instead of using beef stock, and of course, we didn't sear or braise the chicken, but same technique. So if you want to refer back to that video of how to make that sauce, our chicken came out of the oven. Our rice is done, so it's nice and cooked. We're just gonna go ahead and add our dried fruits here, and we're gonna let these warm up just for about 2 or 3 minutes while we finish plating the dish. So we're going to let these warm up, and once they are warm up, while they're warm up, we're gonna go ahead and cut our chicken. So we're gonna go ahead and take those butcher twine that we use to keep everything together. You can see how everything stayed inside. So just be careful here so you're not cutting right into the meat, but just go ahead and pop your knife there and remove those. So make sure you're not piercing into the actual chicken breast here. All right, so we let our chicken rest while we were finishing up the wild rice here. We're gonna go ahead and cut this. We're gonna serve it. Again, very simple. I hope you like this video. I hope you enjoy learning a new way of making, utilizing all your proteins, making that chicken force meat. Again, we hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time on the next video.
Hi, my name is Rayleigh Harper with the School of Hospitality Management and Culinary Arts at Columbus State Community College. We hope you're enjoying our new YouTube channel and would love for you to subscribe to see more videos and chef demonstrations. Also, please visit us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Lastly, you can visit cscc.edu, the Hospitality Department page, if you would like to learn more information about our programs and our school.